Before the story even begins, let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever had a moment that completely flipped your life upside down, the kind that starts with a lie but ends with a truth you didn't know you needed? If that sounds familiar, stick with me. And if you enjoy emotional stories about love, mistakes, and second chances, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because stories like this one might just change the way you see your own life. I never planned to go on that blind date. In fact, I almost canceled 3 times. My best friend kept insisting, saying it was someone perfect for me, someone who understood me, someone who wouldn't waste my time. I trusted him more than anyone, so I ignored the uneasy feeling in my chest and agreed. When I walked into the cafe, scanning the room nervously, my heart dropped straight to my stomach. Sitting there, nervously stirring her coffee, was the last person I expected to see, my best friend's ex. The woman whose name was never mentioned without tension. The woman I was absolutely not supposed to fall for. She looked up, our eyes met, and for a moment neither of us spoke. The silence was loud, filled with confusion, disbelief, and something else I didn't want to admit. I wanted to turn around and leave, but she stood up first, her voice shaky as she said she hadn't known either. We were both victims of the same setup. Anger burned inside me, not at her, but at my friend. Still, something made me sit down. Maybe curiosity. Maybe fate. Maybe the fact that walking away felt like running from something unfinished. The first 20 minutes were awkward beyond words. We talked about safe topics, work, the weather, anything but the obvious. Yet beneath every sentence was the shared knowledge of who she used to be to him, and who I was supposed to be because of that. But slowly, awkwardness gave way to laughter. I noticed how she listened when I spoke, really listened, not just waiting for her turn. I noticed how tired her eyes looked, like someone who had loved deeply and paid for it. By the time the check came, I realized something terrifying. I didn't want the day to end. That night, I confronted my friend. He admitted everything without hesitation. He said he thought we were similar, that we'd understand each other, that maybe 2 broken people could heal together. I yelled at him, told him he crossed a line, told him he had no right. But deep down, part of me knew the truth hurt because it wasn't entirely wrong. Still, I promised myself it was a one-time thing. No second date. No complications. She texted me 2 days later. Just a simple message asking if I was okay. I stared at my phone for a long time before replying. One conversation turned into another, then another. We talked about music, childhood memories, fears we never shared with anyone else. She never spoke badly about my friend, and that alone earned my respect. I found myself looking forward to her messages more than I wanted to admit. That scared me more than anything. When we finally met again, it wasn't called a date. It was just coffee. But it felt different this time. Comfortable. Honest. Real. Somewhere between shared smiles and quiet moments, I realized I wasn't falling for my best friend's ex. I was falling for a woman who had her own story, her own pain, her own strength. The label didn't matter anymore. What mattered was how she made me feel seen. The guilt, however, never went away. Every laugh felt like betrayal. Every happy moment carried a shadow. I avoided my friend, made excuses, lied. And lies have a way of rotting things from the inside. Eventually, the truth came out. He didn't scream. He didn't punch me. He just looked disappointed, which somehow hurt more. He said he wasn't angry about her, but about the secrecy. He felt replaced. Forgotten. I realized then that I had been so focused on my own confusion that I forgot about his pain. For a while, everything fell apart. She stepped back, saying she didn't want to be the reason 2 friends stopped speaking. I respected her for that, but losing her felt like losing air. Days turned into weeks, and I felt empty. During that time, I worked things out with my friend. We talked honestly for the first time in years. About jealousy. About mistakes. About how love doesn't follow rules, no matter how much we want it to. One evening, out of nowhere, she asked to meet. We walked in silence for a long time before she finally stopped and looked at me. Her voice was calm, But her eyes were full of emotion when she said, "Do you want to keep dating?" It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a movie moment. It was real. It was vulnerable. It was terrifying. I didn't answer right away. I thought about loyalty, about fear, about how safe it would be to say no. And then I thought about how empty my life felt without her. I said yes. We didn't rush anything after that. We took our time, built trust brick by brick. Some days were hard. Some days were filled with doubt. But every day felt honest. My friend eventually accepted it, not because it was easy, but because he saw that we weren't a mistake. We were just two people who met at the wrong time and the wrong way, but chose to do things right afterward. Looking back, I realized that being tricked into that blind date forced me to confront parts of myself I had ignored: my fear of conflict, my need for approval, my tendency to run from difficult truths. Love didn't come to me in a perfect package. It came messy, complicated, and uncomfortable. But it also came with growth, forgiveness, and a deeper understanding of what it means to care for someone without owning them. Sometimes life doesn't ask for permission before changing your path. Sometimes the most meaningful connections begin with mistakes. And sometimes, the hardest choices lead to the most honest happiness. If this story moved you even a little, take it as a reminder to be brave with your feelings, gentle with others, and honest with yourself. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep these stories alive.